Welcome to session 2 of our Strength Training for Seniors program. All right, so today's class is on legs. So most people have issues with how to get their feet and their knees and their hips aligned. That seems to be where people get stuck. I love starting with squats in the chair with a ball because then you get the idea of how it works with how to position your feet and your knees. So even if you're viewing this at home, if you're a Silver Sneakers participant, I know that you have a ball. So what you want to do is think about, you're going to put the ball right above your knees, okay? So it goes right above your knees, and then you have your heels are underneath your knees. And to get up, to do a good squat, you want to have it so that your knees always stay pointing forward. So we just stand up. Yep, we just stand up and then we sit down. Now take the ball out and look at the position of your feet. Are they in like this or are they straight? And now do the same thing, but I want you to watch whether you can keep your knees straight. You guys are good. You guys are good. And then come down. So the reason why I like using the ball is because it keeps you honest with your knees. So if you found yourself doing a class and notice that your knees were winging in and out, you would want to have this ball. So think about pressing down into the floor, bring your chest forward and come on up. Yep. And then have a seat. So that's it. So now you know about the position. So again, what you'll find is that after successive squats, you go up and you're down, then you go up and you're down, and then take a look. Did your heels start to drift in like this? Because a lot of times that's what starts to happen. So, yep, you want to keep the outside of your heel lined up with your pinky toe. There you go, up and down. Okay, so now take the chair away. So now come over. Yep, without the chair. All right. Line up. So start with the ball in between the thighs. Squat down like you're reaching back for a chair a little bit. Good. And then stand up. Good. Yep. Come on down. Yep. Then come on up. Okay. So you did great. That was smart because you saw what had happened to your heels. You saw what had happened to your heels. So Celeste, that was smart because your feet got too narrow. So now your feet are wider. So that was a really good change that you did. So take the ball out now. Yep. And your squats, I'll just come sideways for the viewers at home, but your squats don't have to go super deep. But what you want to think about is that your chest is staying up a little bit. Yep. And you're just bending as far as you can. If this starts to happen as you go down, as you go down, if this kind of thing starts to happen, it just means that you're like jammed up somewhere in your hips. So you want to think about, I'm searching for the chair, just like we did, and then I stand up. I'm searching for the chair with my derriere. Oh, that's a good one. Searching for my chair with my derriere, and then I'm standing up. Cool, excellent. So your squats look really good. And if you find that you're starting to get the knee wobbles or your feet are starting to do this over time as you do more and more squats, get that ball back in there, get yourself back to basics. Yeah, cool, excellent. Good. Yeah. So you've already figured out that your feet like to spin in a little bit, and you've already figured out that your knees like to close up a little bit. Yeah. So you just want to keep your feet under your hip. That's beautiful, by the way, because you kept your chest up. Yeah. Yeah. And then just reach back, and then come on up. Everybody has a different squat depth because everybody has different kinds of flexibility in their knees and in their hips. All right, so cool. All right, next one. You don't need the ball. So this is the lunge. And the nice thing is Lisa teaches this fabulous method. I'm sure if you've taken her class, on Mondays, then you know this. So we are going to work with this leg next to the chair. So here's the deal. You stand with your feet together, all right? You toe out, right? And then you do a heel, right? So I'm going to go toe, and I'm going to do heel. There's your width. Look, that's like squat width. And then I'm just going to step straight back. Just going to step straight back. So now that's it. Take a look at your foot. So when you stepped back, did your hip spin out? That's very, very typical. Very typical. So the way that I like to look at it, okay, boom, boom, is I'm standing on railroad tracks. I'm literally standing on railroad tracks, and my leg comes back on the railroad track. There it is. That's kind of how I say it to myself. Okay, I'm standing on railroad tracks, right? So now I can keep my back leg straight and just bend your front knee and watch what happens to your back foot. Did your back foot suddenly it like lifted up, or it started, your heel started to spin in, and then just come back straight with both legs and then just lean forward. And so you're starting to figure out where you're blocked up. So are you blocked up maybe in your ankle? There's not a lot of mobility through your ankle to be able to lean forward. So we're going to start with it on the floor to start with and just find out where you're kind of locked up. So sometimes people are locked up in the ankle. So it's very difficult for them just to lean forward and keep that back leg straight, and then to keep the foot from spinning in. That's the compensation, is they want to spin that heel in to try to get away from it. Yeah, so good. Now lift the heel up off the floor. And now instead of going forward, think I'm going to go down. Beautiful. And back up. Good. Nice. Then you're going to go down. Good. So the other foot that has to be straight, it's not only the back foot, but it's the front foot. So if your front foot is set up a little like this, again, that's a compensation because you've gotten jammed up somewhere. So yeah, so that front foot, there you go. And then send it straight back. Make sure that that front foot isn't cockeyed out. It's front, it's straight also. Good. And then just, so I think about, I'm going to kneel on the floor with my back knee. I'm going to kneel on the floor with my back knee. I'm going to kneel on the back floor. Good. And again, some people get really low. Some people get to here and all of a sudden all their alignment starts going, right? But so you just go as low as you can go, maintaining good alignment. Let's try it on the other side. So if you want, you can take your chair around to the other side. That's fine. Yep. So now, yep, toe and heel, sending it straight back. I'm on a railroad track. Yep, looks pretty good. So put the heel on the floor first and just see if you can bend your front knees. What's getting stuck? So Paula, take a look at your back foot. See how it's set up a little bit like that? Yeah, there you go. I know it's hard. It's hard. And it comes forward. Just see where you're kind of blocked up. Get some mobility going in your ankle. I know, and your calf. So if your calf is tight, that's another thing that's going to restrict your range of motion. So now try to lift the back heel off the floor and think about, I'm going to kneel on the floor with my back knee, kneel on the floor, and then I'm going to push off this leg. Yeah, good. Down, I'm going to kneel on the floor with that back knee. And again, the looser you are in here and in your ankle to be able to actually do what you're doing with the heel off the floor, it's a little easier to get down. A lot of it has to do with this. A lot of it has to do with how much that you can, will this allow you to stretch down? Because the back leg is in stretch. This is the working leg. This is the leg that's in stretch. So this is stretching. This one is working. So come down and now feel, push on the floor with that foot, with this foot. So come down now, push on the floor. Did you feel it right through the back of your leg, your thigh, and all the way up into your butt? Good. So that's the tip on that. That's the tip on that, is railroad tracks. And you can get to those railroad tracks any way you want. You can do this, you know, I suppose you could do this, but you just want to get the feet apart, get them set under the hips, and then send it straight back. The common errors are I send it back and I put it on a tightrope. That's the common error. Why? Because I'm tight in my inner thighs and this is easier to do it that way. All right, so the next leg one is a sumo squat or a wide-legged squat. So now you're gonna like this because we get to turn our toes out. So it's so much easier on the hips now. It's so much easier now. So now the toes are out. So you want to think about that your knees are going to come down. They're not going to go in. They're going to track over your sneaker laces. And then they're going to, so I think, Celeste, you could actually go a little wider with your legs. Paula, you could too. Go a little wider with your legs. Okay. So now my knees are going to track. Yup, beautiful. And then they're going to come up. Yep. Yep. So my knees are, so when I get down to the bottom, my knees are over my sneaker laces and then I'm up. Instead of I come down and my knees went somewhere else. Yep. So what I like to do is I like to kind of push my hands on my thighs, get down there and kind of press on my knees and then come up. So that's one way that you can keep them tracking in the right direction. Press on your knees and then come up. Nice job. Press on your knees and then come up. Good. Let's try one more. Sumo squat down and then come up. Awesome. Really, really good. Okay, now take your tube. We're going to start to work on the hip. So now work on the hip. So things that we've been doing in Silver Sneakers class, we've been doing tap outs. So these are firing up. Tap outs are firing up muscles in your hip called your hip abductors. And they allow you to do things like this and like this. All right. It literally allows you to step sideways and then close up and step sideways and then close up. So your hip abductors. So we'll just start with, we've got tap out. So I want to bend the knee, come up, bend the knee, come straight out to the side. Yep. Bend the knee, come straight. So it's a quadricep. It's a leg exercise for this. And it's a hip when I go sideways. So this is my hip working. This is my leg working. This is my thigh, my hip. Yep. And my thigh. Good. All right. Now here's your challenge. Put your tube under your feet, your insteps. Has to go under your insteps. Because if you stick it under the ball of your feet and you unweight it, it'll flip up and hit you in the face. So make sure it's under the insteps. All right. Now, yep. Start with your feet under your hips and do a monster walk sideways. So I'm going to monster walk out and then under my hip. Yep. Exactly, Celeste. Yep. Monster walk. Monster walk. Good. I love this one. I'm going to Frankenstein walk with my feet apart. Frankenstein. Can you feel that tension on the outside of your hips? You feel it? And that red tube is hard. That one's hard. The green might be better. The green is probably better for legs. This is hard. I am feeling this on the outside of my hips big time. Big time, big time. So even if we don't do this in a Silver Sneakers class, if you feel like your hips need a little more strengthening, just monster walk. Keep your feet apart and just monster walk around. Be Frankenstein, just monster walk. This is an awesome thing to do. Yeah, can you feel how it fires up the outside of your thighs? Yeah, it fires up the outside of your thighs. It's really remarkably effective. It's really, really a good one. It's a good one. So yeah, it's really good. So I'm hoping more people come to class so we can be doing these things because they're really, really good to do. So again, that's hip abduction. So now without your tube, go ahead, just put your tube down. You've seen this in class. You're now going to incorporate a squat with an abduction move. So you're gonna sit, then you come up and you're gonna squeeze. Then you put your foot right where it was. You're gonna sit back a little bit and then you're gonna lift to the side. Whoops, I gotta get out of the way of my chair. Okay, so here's the deal. Let's do a bunch of them. And let's see where your feet wind up. Ready? Let's go. Sit, lift the leg, put it back where it came. Sit, lift the leg, put it back where it came. And I want you guys, because you have the benefit of the mirror here, I want you to see what's happening to your squat. Is it starting to change width? Is it starting? There you go. So Paula, you could be a little wider with your feet. Yeah, there you go. Stick that foot back down. Good job. Yeah, Celeste, you're rocking it. Nice job. Let's do 2 more. You got it now, Paul. There it is. Down and up. Nice job. I feel that. I feel that. Anybody else? Kind of want to be like a lazy horse and stretch your hips. Yeah. Good. We did squat. We did lunge. We did sumo squat. All right. We did hip abduction. All right. Cool. I have a couple of things written on a piece of paper that I want to make sure that I got to. Okay. Oh, yes. Here's the next one. I knew it. All right. So the side lunge. The side lunge can be a little tricky only because of your foot placement, but we're going to start with the feet apart. We're going to start with the feet apart and we're going to have the toes facing forward as best as we can get them. I know you might be set up a little like that. It's okay. It depends on the flexibility in your hips. All right. All I want to do is I just want to bend my right knee and lean into it. Yep. Yep. And then I want to stand straight. And then I want to bend my left knee. Good. And I want to stand straight. So exactly. So if you're tight in the inner thighs, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. It's probably want to think about maybe doing some of these stretches. Okay, there you go. So the goal over time is that you can move that stance wider and wider apart. You're going to load up the right leg, push. You can always use your chair for balance. Stick it in front of you. Stick it in front of you and use it. Yep. So muscle groups that are going to restrict this movement, you said it, it's the inner thighs. It's the inner thighs. If your inner thighs are tight, this is going to be hard to do. All right, it's going to be hard to do. If you're tight in your ankles, this could be a little hard to do too. Yep, but you know what? It gets better with practice. So you're good. You're good. You're good. Okay, so now here's the tough part. So you know how sometimes I have you step out and do that lunge. Yep, and then pull it back together. Then I have you step out. So let's take a look when we step out, what happens to our right foot. So when you're stepping out, are you doing a fencing lunge? So that's a fencing lunge. Or can you try to keep your toes facing a little more forward so that you actually load the thigh? Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Now I'm loading the thigh. When I do it this way, I don't really feel like I loaded my thigh. Oh, now you're loading your thigh. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, so let's try going the other way. And again, you can step out small. Yeah, so see how your foot wanted to turn out right away. Yeah, which is normal. So start small. Okay, I'm going to start small. I started small. Yep. I started small. Okay, my foot's getting the idea where I want it to go. I want it to face forward as best as I can do. Okay, it's doing what my brain is telling it to do. So now I'm going to see if I can get down a little more. You know, it takes, oh, beautiful, you guys. So good. Yeah, and I don't mind if it toes out a little bit. It's just what your hips want to do, but over time, you know, if you can get a little bit more flexibility going in your hips, I'm not even going to say flexibility, I'm going to say mobility. Your hips can be more mobile. Yeah, nice. Whoops. So try. There it is, Celeste. Nice, 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 nice. So those are hard. Those are hard because our bodies are always going to default to the path of least resistance. So if you tend to walk a little bit toes out, if that's just the normal way that you walk, then that's what your foot's going to say, well, that's normal for me. But the body is a series of right angles. If you've ever worked with, we have a gentleman here that does postural alignment, Mr. Franzi, and he's all about like the body's a series of right angles. So your shoulders are right angles, your hips are right angles. It's a series of right angles and it's blocks. The shoulders are a block, the hips are a block, the knees are a block, so are the ankles and the feet. So those are blocks. And what happens is over time as we age, our blocks can get a little bit skewed. So maybe our hips aren't quite square, or maybe we're a little bit rotated on one hip, or maybe one shoulder's a little higher than the other. It's really normal, but there's a lot, like if you're using correct form when you're doing all of these exercises, you can stop from looking like this as you're as you age. It's very tricky. Okay, so now let's go back into the chair. And I just wanted to do a couple of fun little things for inner thighs. So we talk about the inner thighs being tight. So we saw that they're inner thigh. Oh, that's such a shame. I hope somebody can get in there and it's probably, yeah, absolutely. It's something spasmed, I bet. Does it feel like a nerve impingement? It's radiating everywhere. Yes. Yep. You probably haven't. Have you tried heat? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, nothing yet. Ooh. Ooh. You might need a muscle relaxant. Oof. Ooh. So, okay, so I don't need this. Okay, so, all right, I'm going to sit in the middle of my chair. Okay, and I've done this one in class, but it's really good for strengthening up the thighs. So I'm going to take my right leg out, left at home, and my left leg out. And I'm going to pick them up and pull them together. So now I've used my inner thighs, but this is also a core exercise at the same time. Now, if I was having a little bit of trouble, I could grab onto the bottom of my chair to stabilize myself, but I'm trying to stay with some kind of core tension to keep myself sitting up straight. So I'm gonna go one leg out, the other leg out, and I'm gonna try to pick them up and pull them back together without going with a big movement. So I'm out, and then I'm in. Yep, good. I'm out, and then I'm in. And you are gonna rock a little bit. I totally get it, because you're trying to use your hips and your inner thighs. There you go, out and out. And in and in. So that's a really good one. You can go the other way just to mess up your brain. Yep, out, and in, and then try one more of those. That's kind of a cool way. I mean, you're working your hip flexors, your inner thighs, and you're also, yes, exactly. Now, to strengthen your inner thighs, it would be with the ball. So these are the ball squeezes, all right? What I find is most people they tend to revert to their inner thighs instead of using their quads. So we tend to be quad weak and inner thigh dominant. All right. But it's still not a bad idea to have some strength in the inner thighs. So that's the ball squeezes. So again, if we're talking about working legs, the ball squeeze is a great way, but you always want to do it with your feet and your knees and your hips set up at right angles, at right. So I wouldn't want to do them like this, because now I'm just emphasizing incorrect motor patterning. All right. Yes, I want to do them with my feet set straight. And now I want to work them this way. Have you ever done wall sits? They're a great way to strengthen. Exactly. The wall sits, if you get your feet set correctly, you come down, you hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you go back up. That's your quads. So if you tend to be inner thigh dominant, and last week, Doris, we talked about it with you, how you revert to your inner thighs to get up. So that's why the ball is so good for you, because it's reminding you that you want to use these and not have a death grip on that ball. So you want to use your quads. I want to push on the floor and come up and then go down. So the ball can either be a strengthening tool with squeezes, or it can be a sort of guide tool to make you use your thighs, I'm not trying to do a death grip on this ball as I get up. It's just reminding me that my knees need to be pointed ahead, my feet need to be square, and I have to use these to get out of the chair. Because I was one of those people that was very weak in my quads, and I was always reverting to other muscles to do it. So I tend to be really over tight with my inner thighs. Yeah. And makes your hips really tight when you ride. Yeah, really, really tight, which is why I really love this stretch. The one we do at the end of class here, where we send that leg back and we open this up. This is good. It stretches the quad. It stretches this and it stretches this. And that's where most of us are really tight here. I mean, think about during COVID, how much more did you sit during COVID? I don't know about you, but my Netflix account got used a lot. And then my Prime account, and then HBO and all that stuff. I watched a lot of movies in 2020. So anyway, yeah. So this is an awesome stretch. So strength is good, but at the same time, you also want to open up those muscles that you worked. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, okay, so we covered, oh my gosh, we covered the squat. We covered the squat abduct, the squat, the toe taps out the side. We covered the rear lunge. Yep. We covered the sumo squat back in the beginning, the one where we went down the center. And we covered, to me, the hardest one is this one. This is the hardest one, because you have to be able to keep aware. You must maintain awareness about the foot placement. Yeah, the foot placement. Exactly. Yes. Yep. And again, if you just step out and get a little bend, it's okay. But if you keep doing it, and then you'll find it's like, oh, now I got control. My brain's got control. You know, oh yeah, my brain's got control of where my feet are going now. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So the other one, I'll do one more for legs, and then we'll do just a super fast review of last week. Celeste is not going to pick up any weights because she will fire up her shoulders terribly. She will just, but, oh, okay. So here's another one. Okay. So this is a lunge to a knee lift. All right. Do not be concerned if you have to use a chair to do this. This is not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Okay. So us here in the studio, we're going to step back with the left. You at home, you're stepping back with your right. So we're going to step back on our railroad track, come down, and then we're going to come up, and we're going to try to balance. Good. And again, that chair can be your buddy. All right, now here's the hard part. Go back. Did you find the railroad track? You were close. You were close. And then come up. Whoa. Yeah, good. So what's holding you up here? You feel it? It's like all in here. Yeah. Okay. Search for the railroad track. Where is it? Yes, Paula, you found your railroad track. Good. And then up and then balance. I know. I'm not very good at it either. One more. Railroad track, find it. Find the railroad track. You're so close. And then come on up. Cool. I bet things are different on the other side. I'm going to go over on the other side. So once you start adding, once you're no longer stationary with this stuff and you're starting to add movement to it, there's more parts of your body that your brain is having to control. So now, us in the studio, we're on the left, you're on your right at home. Okay, here we go. Find the railroad track, find it. Come on down, find it. Yep, come on up. Oh, I'm better on this side. How about you guys? Now, find the railroad track. This is where a mirror is a big help. You're so close, Paula. You're so close. But can you see how what you want to do is get on a tightrope? That's what you want to do. So use your chair. Okay, I keep my chest up. Find my railroad track. There it is. I found it. And then I'm up. Okay, now I'm balancing. Woo. I'm going to do one more. Find the railroad track. This is the hard part. And then come up. So why is it hard? Because it requires proprioceptive awareness. Where is my foot in space? Where is my foot in space? Let's see. Where is that railroad track? Where is that railroad track? So that's what, and if you're a visual learner, you may need a prop, an aid, like a mirror. You might be one of those people that goes, okay, the railroad track, I know where it is. Boom, I found the railroad track. That's only because I've practiced. It didn't happen right off the bat. So maybe you're a person that, yeah. So your tightrope instinct came out a little bit there, Celeste, but just you're a little bit more over to the right. There she is. She found it. You found it. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, super quick because it's almost quarter after, but I'll show you a couple of things from last week. I would not suggest you fire up your shoulders at all. I would leave them alone. Yes, if you want to get a weight, yeah. So I'm just actually going to do it with no weights because I've already taught today. But I'm going to just quickly run over because my video, I apologize, last week I never put the head mic on. I forgot to put the head mic on. So, but what I'm going to just do as a reminder for everybody is when we talk shoulders, we talk about position. The shoulders are under the ears. All right, the chest is lifted. So I'm going to come a little closer into the screen so that you see it. I just don't want to be set up in this position when I work shoulders because now all my back muscles are slack and my scapula, my shoulder blades are completely in the wrong position. So I want to pick them up, put them in my back pocket. So you can see here, so I put them in my back pocket and you can see how my shoulder is under my ears, all right? And then the trick we learned last week was that if the thumbs, this is what's called your anatomical position, the way that your arms hang by your side. And for most of us, as we gracefully age, this position is the most comfortable for us to be moving our arms around in. So for example, a front raise, thumbs up. Yup, that's all it has to be, thumbs up. You can try it where you rotate your palms back, but feel how that turned the head of your humerus into your shoulder so that what automatically happens, watch, my shoulders came forward, right? So I like it like this, thumbs up. Yup. How about if we went up the side? Thumbs up. There we go. Yes. And how about if I went over my head? I wouldn't do this, Celeste. This may kick off your neck. Thumbs back. I go up. Yeah. So, yeah. And just play with that. So this would be A lot of what you see is palms facing in, front raise, palms facing down, and then palms facing forward and you're going up. That one's not so bad, but this, feel how your shoulder glides better, because again, it's the anatomical position that your arms hang out of your shoulder socket in, is that. And it allows you to keep your chest up and your shoulders under. So the other one we worked on was in the chair. It was the rear fly in the chair. So again, my arms are just hanging down, and all I did, I'll go a little sideways for the viewers at home. I just, again, leaned forward a little bit, let my arms come down, but notice how I didn't do this. I didn't let my shoulders go. So I feel like I'm kind of retracted a little bit. And we did that little exercise where we just drew our shoulder blades back without bending the elbows. And then we just let them relax a little bit. And then we squeezed the shoulder blades and we let them relax. And we squeezed them. And then when we do the rear fly, you're going to feel that action as your arms come up and they come down. You're going to feel those shoulder blades moving in and out. Yep. And they're coming out. Yeah. And the more you can get your back opposite gravity, which means the more you can lean over if it doesn't make you feel too weird, then the more you're putting those muscles in the back of the shoulder opposite gravity if you're working with weights, and you're going to get better results. Yeah. So again, the real big tip on this one is I don't want to come over and just let my scapula, my shoulder blades wing apart. I want them to be slightly retracted, and then I just lift my arms. You're probably, because we went over a lot of stuff with the tube last week when it came. So that's probably, you can, if this just doesn't work for you, if you have any kind of rubberized resistance at home, and I'll come forward just so that we can see it. So again, notice how my arms are straight, all right? And my tube's not, like, it's not in here because I want to be able to aim for the center of my chest. My arms are straight out to the side, and then I come forward, and then I do that again. And I get that same sensation in my back that my shoulder blades are kind of going in towards the midline, and then they're kind of coming apart and back into their normal position, and then they're coming back to their normal place, and now they're getting closer together. So it's kind of like this. It's kind of like they're here, but then they're doing this, and then they're going out. They're doing this. They're actually doing more like this. They're turning in, and then they're coming this way, and then they're going in like this. But so if this feels more comfortable for you to do at home, you don't have to get your chest over. All right, you can just be up and then pull apart. Good, great, great. And then we talked about the chest. So we talked about this one. I love this one. And if you have a Dynaband, you have a tube at home, and you want to simulate a chest press, you don't have to get on the floor. You don't have to lean back in your chair to get your chest muscles opposite gravity's pull. The rubberized resistance can be done on your head. All right, so this is, I'm just going to punch forward, and then I'm going to come back in. I'm going to punch forward, and you are in charge of how much resistance you want on that band. If you want more, you just give it another wrap. I just gave mine another wrap. Oh, now I feel the resistance. Now I feel it. There it is. Yep, I'm coming forward. Now, same thing now, thumbs up, open my elbows, close my elbows, open my elbows, close my elbows. I'll do it sideways for you. Open my elbows. This is the backs of the arms, the backs of the arms. Open my elbows, close my elbow. Oh yeah, I'm feeling this. Open my elbows, close my elbows. Yep. You can punch, boom, 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 boom. You can box, you can do all kinds of stuff with it. Here's another one. Arms are open, chest fly, squeeze my hands together. Open, squeeze right in front of the center of my chest. Oh, yep, and then open. This is chest fly. I love this one. Yes, so Celeste, you could actually lower your hands down a little bit and go palms up. So go palms up and now give it a squeeze. Yeah, and then open it. There you go. Yep, yep. Paul, you just want to kind of commit a little longer arm, a little longer arm. There you go, girl. Yep, yep. Oh, yep, yep, yep. Yep. So you don't want to get in here. Not enough resistance. Get out there. We got it. Oh, okay. And then the other upper body one that we talked about last week was with a set of weights that you would to do chest press. Terry, I know, does this one on Fridays. Absolutely. She gets more towards the front of her chair. She leans back. So again, she's trying to get the chest somewhat opposite gravity. These are actually incline chest presses. And then she works with the weight. She comes up this way and then she comes down. You want to make sure when you're doing one of these incline chest presses that your weights don't go this way. They want to go on the diagonal going away from your body. Yep. And then again, you can go palms in. There's that chest press again. I mean, there's that tricep press again. Exactly. So you can punch up like on a 45-degree angle. Yeah, because if you went forward, that wouldn't really be your chest. That's more your shoulder. You want to kind of get on a 45-degree angle going up and then coming down. Yeah, that's getting that weight to travel versus gravity. Good, 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 good. I think that was, yeah. And then, oh, and the tip on the biceps. Remember the tip on the biceps? Always elbows by your lovely waistline up and down, because if you get starting doing this, it's a bicep exercise with a front shoulder exercise. You're just overworking muscles. You want this. This is your biceps. So you want to isolate that bicep by anchoring those elbows in. It doesn't matter what direction I go. Thumbs up, palms down, all right? Palms up, across my midline. Doesn't matter. Okay, so sorry about that. The battery died, but we were done.